Full cut off on me again. All right, I'm back. Told you I ain't going nowhere. I might have to figure this thing out, though. But we ain't going nowhere. We still got unfinished those Durk business to take off. You know what I mean? We got some unfinished Durk business. You know what I mean? Let me see. Okay. Boom. Here we go. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna be here all day. I don't care if nobody watching. Yeah. Damn, yo. It's only 2 people sitting at the table now. It was 8. Yo, it was 8 people at one point that was sitting next to him at the table when they was going to court. Now it's only one more person. All the rest of them is gone. It's scary. That's scary. That's scary. And get to the, we know about his history. We know where he comes from. Okay, let's get to the nitty and gritty. King Vaughn, the top demon, the top killer, nigga. There you go. Get violent, nigga, with my nigga Durk and them, nigga. All is from that, baby. Yo, and this all could have been avoided if niggas wasn't fucking with Asian Dog. Ain't this beef over Asian Dog? This is all over Asian Dog. Nigga dead, another nigga facing life. Bodies done dropped all over the floor. Mad bodies on both sides is dead over this. All over Asian Dog. Oh my God. Oh my God. Durk would not be in jail right now if it wasn't for Asian Dog. Is that the truth? Drop a flex bomb on that, nigga, because that's the truth, nigga. This is all because they charging them for the same shit with Lil Tim and Pop. This whole thing is over. Vaughn beefing with them, and this is what it lead to. Now Durk fighting for his life. You know what? You know what Asian dog doing? She having babies with other niggas, be chilling. This is sad, B. This is sad, B. Right? Ain't this what this is over though, right? Ain't this what the whole beef and it's over? It's over Queen Vaughn? And he was beefing with Quando Rondo because he was beefing with NBA Youngboy because NBA Youngboy was fucking with Homegirl, which is crazy. Pfft, 18. What's going on? Let me make sure this shit playing, man.
Immediately after doing the hit.
Let me make sure this shit playing, man. Yep, look at that shit. I ain't hearing nothing on the side. See? I know it.
Immediately after doing the hit.
Yep, look at that shit. I ain't hearing nothing on the side. Somebody could have told me, babe.
See? No.
There's no sound coming from this shit. Why is that? Oh, God. They want that phone. They want that phone.
Reported that in their motion, prosecutors described the song as showing Durk's, quote, resolve to avenge the death of his friend and protege King Bone Benny. The government argued the song is essentially a call to arms, with lyrics referencing associates prepared for violence, funding weapons, and bonds, and imagery showing Durk handling large sums of cash. Prosecutors also told the judge that a cooperating witness connected to the Los Angeles shooting was actually present when the video was filmed, and would testify about his interpretation of the lyrics and what was happening around that production. The defense pushed back hard. Durk's attorney argued that "Piss Me Off" was an emotional response to grief, including the death of his brother Dante, and that it was artistic expression, not a criminal statement. She also connected her objection to an earlier ruling where Judge Fitzgerald had 75 racketeering charges from the August trial, arguing that admitting the song could indirectly reintroduce themes tied to charges the judge had already separated. That argument did not carry the day.
My bad. Somebody gotta let me know
Judge
something, man.
Fitzgerald ruled that the "Piss Me Off" music video and related material can
say,
be
yo,
used at
it's
trial.
mute in there,
The
B.
government got another significant pre-trial win. Real talk, that ruling opens a debate that goes well beyond this single case.
My bad, though.
Rap lyrics have been used as evidence in criminal trials across the country for years, and the practice has generated serious controversy. The argument for admission is that lyrics and videos can provide relevant context about a defendant's state of mind, relationships, and intentions. The argument against is that rap music is a genre built on fictionalization.
They trying to get in that phone.
Persona.
They trying to stall time to get in that phone. They had that phone for 5 years, though.
4. Exaggerated street imagery and narrative storytelling that does not always reflect the artist's real life.
Come on,
Rappers,
man.
Former associates who cooperate with the government can provide powerful first-hand accounts, but they also face aggressive cross-examination, and their credibility can be challenged on the basis of incentives, inconsistent prior statements, or cooperation deals made with prosecutors. The prosecution's evidence reportedly includes digital material described as running into hundreds of gigabytes, along with over 30,000 pages of investigative reports. That is not a number designed to impress you. That is a number that tells you how long federal agents spent building this case and how many documents, communications, records, and reports they assembled into a single prosecution file. The government's case is built on allegedly connecting multiple categories of evidence into a single coherent narrative. Financial records allegedly showing OTF-linked credit cards used to purchase the flights and hotel stays for the alleged participants traveling from Chicago to California.
Why would you use your credit card? Why would you use everything got to be done with cash or either one of them vanilla cards. You gotta put the money on the vanilla card, like how the scammers be doing. They be like, yo, go to the store, put the money on the Amazon card, and then send the card. Yeah, that's how you gotta treat it, V. You gotta put the money on the Amazon card, V. Can't be out there
Flight manifests
using
and
your
credit
card
card
to
tracking
do
that
shit like that.
prosecutors
That's
say proved
crazy.
Durk financed the travel logistics of the alleged operation. Phone and digital communications that prosecutors say establish relationships and intent. The cooperating witness testimony from someone who claims to have direct knowledge of the conspiracy. And now the Piss Me Off music video.
Piss me off.
Prosecutors say
That's
a
what they want.
cooperating witness will personally interpret for the jury based on having been
Piss
present
me off
during its
video,
filming.
B. That's
That
a
is
deep
a
video,
layered
B.
evidentiary strategy built on the idea
That's the
that
video they
multiple
gonna use to take
independent
'em down.
categories of evidence, when viewed together, prove the government's theory beyond a reasonable doubt. Prosecutors also allege that following the shooting, people involved in the attack received specific rewards for their alleged participation. According to court filings, those rewards allegedly included custom
they got
jewelry,
Soulja Boy
luxury
up there?
grills, and prominent placements in OTF music videos.
Hold on.
Conspiracy. And
What
now
the fuck Soulja
tracking
Boy
that
got to do with
prosecutors
this?
say proved Durk financed the travel logistics of the alleged operation. phone and digital communications that
Why they
prosecutors
put
say
Soulja
established
Boy picture up
relationships
there, though? That's
and
what I want to
intent.
know.
The cooperating witness testimony from someone who claims
took
to have
Soulja Boy
direct
chain
knowledge
or
of the
something?
conspiracy. And now the Piss Me Off music video, which prosecutors say a cooperating witness will personally interpret for the jury based on having been present during
That's
its
OTF
filming.
Jam. They saying that's OTF Jam. They say he gonna point everybody out in the music video. Everything anybody did in the music video getting pointed out by OTF Jam.
That is a layered evidentiary strategy built on the idea that multiple independent categories of evidence, when viewed together, prove the government's theory beyond a reasonable doubt. Prosecutors also allege that following the shooting, people involved in the attack received specific rewards for their alleged participation. According to court filings, those rewards allegedly included custom jewelry, luxury.
Oh, one more time. Why they got Soulja Boy in here, man?
That multiple independent categories of evidence, when viewed together, prove the government's theory beyond a reasonable doubt. Prosecutors also allege that following the shooting, people involved in the attack received specific rewards for their alleged participation. According to court filings,
that's Soulja Boy right there, nigga.
Those rewards allegedly.
Look, you can tell by that tat right there. Right here. The Gucci tat in his forehead. That's Soulja Boy. What you got to do with this?
Included custom jewelry, luxury grills, and prominent placements in OTF music videos. Benefits that prosecutors say demonstrate the organization's system of compensating people who carried out work on his behalf.
That don't make sense.
Those alleged.
They said he promised them spots in his music videos and chains and stuff. Nigga, nobody don't care about being in his music video like that. You know what I'm saying? Who care about being in his music video?
Post-shooting transactions are.
That's what I'm saying. They might not got nothing, man. All they got is a bunch of people saying, yo,
expected to be part of the trial record. The defense will have the opportunity to challenge the government's interpretation of every one of those transactions. Here is the real kicker, though. Not every pretrial ruling went the prosecution's way. In July 2026, in a notable victory for the defense, Judge Fitzgerald granted Durk's request to sever a set of newly added racketeering-related charges that prosecutors had filed in the superseding indictment. Those racketeering allegations involved a separate 2022 killing in Chicago. The judge ruled they would be handled in a completely separate trial rather than being folded into the August murder for hire case.
You heard that? You heard he got a completely separate trial coming up. Completely. What the heck going on?
Defense. Judge Fitzgerald granted Durk's request to sever a set of newly added racketeering-related charges
on this computer.
that prosecutors had filed in the superseding indictment. Those racketeering allegations involved a separate 2022 killing in Chicago. The judge ruled they would be handled in a completely separate trial rather than being folded into the August murder for hire case. That was a meaningful procedural win for the defense. It means the jury sitting in Los Angeles starting August 20th will not be hearing evidence about the Chicago racketeering allegations alongside the murder for hire charges. The defense successfully narrowed the battlefield for this trial. Let me break down for you what the government's narrative is likely to look like once the jury is seated. The prosecution is expected to argue that King Von's death in November 2020 created the alleged motive. Communications and digital records will allegedly provide context and establish relationships between the parties. The financial records showing OTF-linked cards purchasing flights allegedly connect the organization to the logistical preparation. The travel to California allegedly shows the conspiracy moving from planning to execution. The August 19th shooting allegedly represents the criminal event, with Lil Pav's death as its result. And Piss Me Off will allegedly show the jury what Durk's state of mind was in the period leading up to the attack. But here is where the defense's opportunity comes in. And do not sleep on this part because the defense has significant tools available. The phone evidence can be challenged on the question of what the material actually shows, whether it connects to the specific charges, and whether the jury can be convinced that context matters as much as content. A text message does not convict someone on its own. Prosecutors have to establish what it means, who sent it, when it was sent, and what the recipient
Ain't
did
no
with it.
context
The
to them
defense
text
will have
messages.
the chance to offer a competing interpretation at every step. The music can be argued as artistic expression that should not be taken literally. Durk's defense attorney has already staked out that position, arguing that Piss Me Off was a grief-driven tribute tied to the loss of family members, not a roadmap to violence. That argument will be made again in front of the jury, and the defense will likely call on the broader history of rap
Piss Me
music
Off and
to make
OTF
the case
Jam.
that taking lyrics.
If all they got is Piss Me Off and OTF Jam, he good, man. He coming home, man. He's gonna have to fight the next trial. But if that's all they got is Piss Me Off and OTF Jam, nigga, that's nothing. They ain't that. I mean that's something, but it ain't nothing big. It ain't nothing crazy. Who the 35 people that they got? That's what everybody waiting on. The 35 people. Because they say they got 35 people for the trial. Ready.
Lyrics at face value misrepresents how the genre actually works. The witnesses can be cross-examined on their credibility, the cooperation deals they made with the government in exchange for reduced charges or favorable treatment, inconsistencies between their earlier statements and their trial testimony, and the possibility that they are shaping their accounts to serve their own interests. Cooperating witnesses are among the most powerful tools prosecutors have, but they are also among the most vulnerable to cross-examination. A skilled defense attorney with inconsistent prior statements can do real damage to the government's narrative. The financial records can potentially be given innocent explanations, and the defense attorney can argue to the jury that the government's chain of evidence has gaps, and that the prosecution cannot prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Durk knowingly participated in the charged conduct, let alone directed it from a position of criminal control. Durk has been detained in federal custody since his October 2024 arrest, after he was stopped at a Florida airport while allegedly attempting to leave the country. He has been held without bail for nearly a year. In May 2025,
and that 2 years
prosecutors
went by
revealed
fast.
they would not seek the death penalty, which removed the most extreme possible outcome, but
Okay,
left the
that's good.
severity of the remaining charges fully intact. The court denied his request for pretrial release in June 2025, with the judge determining that the government had established by clear and convincing evidence that no condition or combination of conditions would reasonably assure his appearance and the safety of the community. That standard is difficult to meet, but the government met it. Durk has been sitting in federal custody while his attorneys have been fighting these pretrial battles. That detention has already changed the shape of his career, his ability to release music, his finances, and his public presence in a way that even the most loyal fan base cannot fully offset. Music from incarcerated artists can circulate, but the ability to build, perform, collaborate, and direct a career does not function the same way from a federal detention facility. The charges he faces carry a statutory maximum of life imprisonment. And here's the part that makes that number even heavier. The federal prison system does not have parole. There is no federal parole board that can release someone after they have served a portion of a sentence. If Durk is convicted on the murder for hire and conspiracy charges and a judge sentences him to life, that means exactly what it says: the rest of his life behind bars. That reality has been hanging over this case since the day he was arrested in October 2024. Now, about that title, let's address what the culture does with the federal pretrial hearing. When news broke about the phone ruling and the Piss Me Off ruling on August 13th, social media erupted with headlines saying it was over, that Durk was cooked, that he fainted in court, that he had already lost. Reaction channels and commentary accounts were treating the pretrial ruling like a final verdict. That is how this culture processes complicated legal news. It compresses a procedural hearing into a single emotional moment and assigns a winner and a loser before a single juror has been sworn in. The audience does not necessarily want the nuance. They want the headline, the clip, the quote that says it all in 10 seconds. That is how viral content works. But a federal criminal trial does not work that way. Let me be direct about what those August 13th rulings actually are and what they are not. They are pretrial evidentiary rulings. They determine what the government is allowed to try to show the jury. They are not findings of guilt. They are not convictions. They are not even a preview of how the jury will receive the evidence once they actually see it in context with cross-examination, defense arguments, and competing interpretations. Judges rule on admissibility. Juries rule on credibility and weight. Those are completely different functions. The rulings on August 13th were significant setbacks for the defense. They gave prosecutors additional tools to construct their narrative. but they do not mean the case is decided. The phone evidence still has to be presented, authenticated, and explained to 12 people who will be evaluating everything they see and hear through the lens of reasonable doubt. The Piss Me Off video still has to be shown in a courtroom, where the defense can argue at length that it is grief-driven art created by a man mourning a friend, not a criminal blueprint. The cooperating witness still has to take the stand, give his testimony, and then survive whatever cross-examination Durk's attorneys are prepared to deliver. And every single element of the government's case still has to survive the legal and evidentiary standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Here is where we stand. King Von was killed on November 6, 2020 outside a hookah lounge in Atlanta. The grief was real, the public mourning was documented, and according to the government, something darker allegedly took shape in the months that followed. Prosecutors alleged that a bounty was placed on Quando Rondo's life, and that the alleged plot became operational in August 2022. On August 18, 2022, Durk's associates allegedly learned that Rondo was in Los Angeles. On August 19, 2022, shots rang out at a gas station in the Beverly Grove neighborhood near the Beverly Center. At least 18 rounds were allegedly fired. Lou Pob, Quando Rondo's 24-year-old cousin, was killed. Quando Rondo survived. 5 OTF-connected defendants were charged, and Durk was eventually arrested in October 2024 at a Florida airport. The federal case has been moving through pre-trial litigation ever since, with the trial delayed multiple times before landing on the August 20th, 2026 start date. In July 2026, the judge severed the newly filed racketeering charges, giving the defense a meaningful win that narrowed the scope of the August trial. On August 13, 2026, Judge Fitzgerald ruled the phone evidence stays in and the Piss Me Off music video goes to the jury, handing prosecutors 2 critical pretrial victories.
Yeah, when they listen to that video and watch that video, it is over.
On August 20th, 2020,